Here.
Mike Burns.
Here.
Jim Josie.
Here.
Bob Murphy.
Here.
LaDonna Allen.
Here.
Roger Smith.
Here.
We always stand and join me in our pledge of allegiance and the invocation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please pray with me. Eternal God, as we begin another session of the Carl Junction Board of Alderman, we ask that you arouse in our hearts a hunger and a thirst for justice and peace, so that our actions will be guided by the desire to secure justice and equality for every member of our community. It's in your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Next is approval of the agenda. Are there any comments or corrections to the agenda as presented?
I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Roger Spencer to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The agenda is approved. Next is the consent agenda. Approval of the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting and approval of our disbursements. Are there any comments or corrections or questions about the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Rick Flynn to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The consent agenda is approved. Well, before we get into public forum, I'd like to recognize a special group of people here. We have our archery national champions, and we appreciate them being here. They've got a few trophies this year, it looks like. So, Tammy, Gretchen, would you come up and tell us what they did this year, please?
Well, they've been a very successful group. We started in November, and then we started competing in January. So we went through a long drought, right, guys? A lot of push-ups. Yeah, a lot of hard work, a lot of listening to me bark, right? Oh yeah, see, and then the end of January rolled around. Then we got to start going to competitions. And the very first one out of the box, boy, we kind of got our tails beat pretty good, but that's good. It was a good team, and it lit a fire in us. And then we had several pretty successful all season. Then we went to the Missouri State Archery Tournament, and we won 3D in the elementary division, and we took second in bullseye. And these kids, they started batting their eyes and looking really cute. And they talked their coaches, taking them all the way to Sandy, Utah, for Western Nationals. And there, they knocked it out of the park, guys. We took first place in 3D. We have a national champion, Brody Allen, who shot a 285 out of 300. And then we had second place, Kennedy Bauer, 272 out of 300. Still pretty impressive. And we have fifth place, Ada. I lost it. 256. 256. I like it. 256. Those were our individual placers in 3D, and then we got second. We lost by 8 points, and that's hard. But we put up our best score ever. Got second place in Western Nationals, and we had one medalist, which was Callie Fredericks.
All right. Great job.
Yeah.
Very good.
I know we're gonna do it again, and I won't forget any names.
Yeah.
Brody Allen. Oh yeah, Alex Henderson. Kennedy Bauer. Callie Frederiksen. Braylon Johnson. Kagan Leggett. Hudson Kelly. Caleb May. Isaac Parrish. Adeline Privet. Adeline, you should not sit together. Julia Churchill. I already said it once. Ada Phillips. Amy Huffman. Abby Moore. Neely Grimes. And Carson Carson Clemens. And we're missing two tonight, kind of under the weather, but pretty good turnout.
What are your plans for the future now?
Once again, they were batting their eyes and giving me that look. And we will be going to World in Louisville, Kentucky on June 23rd, 26th. That's our plan.
Great. Very good. Congratulations to all of you. We're very
proud.
proud of you.
We're proud to support our community in the city of Carl Junction. We wear these jerseys with pride.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Tammy, if people want to follow you, I know you have a Facebook page, right, that maybe they can follow and learn about your fundraising efforts and the team activities.
It is Carl Junction Elementary Archery.
All right.
And yes, they may.
Very good.
Yes, they may sponsor
Yes,
you.
they may.
Know what they're-
I need to make checks payable to CJ Elite Archery.
There you go.
All right,
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
Now,
You may stay if you would like to see how.
Or you can leave if you want to.
yeah, it's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory, that's correct. Well, at least double field made it in like 5 seconds.
I came for the archery. And in case Tammy needed to know she's her own dog.
You know, while they're making noise, I'll tell you, when we got there, I guess when the charter bus got there, the first place they went was Black Rifle Coffee. Got up, got pictures in front of Black Rifle and stuff. We were in there 2 days later. They said, where are you from? We were like, we're from Missouri. Our grandson and his team were here. And they're like, is that the little team that was in from, and we said, project? And they're like, you got to bring him back. Tell him send pictures. I thought they were so impressed with these kids, which is really
I bet you want coffee.
cool. Better than Starbucks.
All right, moving right along. We'll start with public forum. Anyone wishing to speak at public forum? Kavanaugh, you're going to speak at public forum?
I am.
Well, let me read this in so you don't trash me.
Okay.
All persons wishing to speak to the mayor and board of aldermen during the public comment portion of the meeting should come forward one at a time and stand at the podium, then state your name and address and the subject matter you wish to comment upon. All comments should be directed to the mayor in a civil manner. Comments are limited to 5 minutes unless the mayor or board of aldermen grants additional time. It is the mayor's responsibility to make certain these rules are followed and to maintain order and decorum. If you have a question, the mayor and board of aldermen may, of course, provide an immediate response. However, the mayor and board of aldermen may also provide no response or a response at a later time as they deem appropriate.
All right. So Kavanaugh, Sutherland, CJ resident, but I am making an announcement on behalf of the Carl Junction Area Chamber of Commerce. So in February, I submitted a application on behalf of Carl Junction, Missouri, so the city, its residents, its school, our community, everything, and everything. And that was with the Missouri Humanities Council. They are based in St. Joseph, Missouri, and they're a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to helping Missourians explore the people, places, and ideas that shape our society for over 50 years. I am happy to announce myself, the chamber, and we do have some board representatives, that Carl Junction has been officially nominated. And what that means is we've made it to phase 2. The nomination application was accepted. And from now until July 1st, we need everyone in Carl Junction and in the area to vote for Carl Junction. If there are currently 41 total nominations, we're the only one in Jasper County. And a little snippet of what they took from my application that got accepted, that is on their website currently says, Carl Junction puts their school at the top of their priorities. They're proud to say that in their community, when their school, their teachers, or their students are in need, their residents step up. They would love to show the world how dedicated they are to their citizens and how their efforts have accomplished so much such as a donation-driven community library and annual festivals. If we win, the winners will be announced August 1st. We need to be in the top 5. If we win, they will send a film crew to the city, and they will shoot a 3 to 5 minute video about our community. There's drone footage. They want to talk to residents. They want to talk to you. They want to talk to the school about what makes Carl Junction so great and why people want to live here. We would also be featured in an hour-long podcast. We would have a feature in their biannual publication, Missouri Humanities Magazine. And there would be a highlight reel about Carl Junction featuring all of the top 5 to be shown during their annual gala. Tonight, I have a press release that is going to be sent to all media. I've already actually scheduled some interviews to start promoting this. We're going to do paid social media ads. We're really going to get it out to everyone to vote for us, especially because we all love Carl Junction, and I think this would obviously be huge for our town, and I hope that Carl Junction can win. If you go to their website, I will share the link. They've already done 3 videos of the 3 out of the 5 communities from last year, so you can kind of see what their videos look like. They're really, really awesome, very professionally done. Like I said, they bring in a film crew, so I just am really excited to make that announcement.
Very good. Thank you. That sounds great. Yeah. Any questions? Kavanaugh, thank you.
You're welcome. I'll also give you, this is the press release.
Okay, good. Thanks.
There you go.
Are you gonna send us
Thank
the links and stuff so we can vote?
Yep.
How many times can you vote per day?
So it says you can only vote once, but when I went to vote, you can submit multiple votes. So I've already been doing that myself. So I would say keep clicking the link and keep voting for us.
Sounds good.
We'll have you make a copy of that. Put it in this packet, please. Very good. Anyone else wishing to speak at public forum tonight? There's a lot of people here. Surely you guys got something to say. No? All right. Well, last call for public forum. Very well then. Next is P&Z cases. Case number 22-02, special use permit at 112 Terrell Lane, Isaac Knutson. And this is a public hearing. So I'll open the public hearing, and I would ask for anyone that would like to speak in favor of this special use permit. Before we do that, would you want to explain the special use permit, Steve?
Planning and zoning heard this already, and they are recommending approval. Mr. Knutson is planning on using an existing garage on his grandparents' property for a detail shop.
Would anyone like to speak in favor of this? Yes, come on. Just give your name and address.
Yeah, so I'm Isaac Knutson, and I'm the one that's wanting to get this going.
Sure.
So I talked to the other group of guys a couple weeks ago, and just here to see it all forward.
Okay. Very good. Anyone have questions? Isaac, anybody? Thank you. Anybody else like to speak in favor of this permit? Very well. Anyone like to be opposed to this permit? Anyone like to speak in opposition to this permit?
So
Yes,
there
Steve.
was 2 conditions that planning and zoning put on it. One of them had to do with environmental, to make sure that because the property does back up to Cooley Branch, make sure that nothing gets into Cooley Branch, so degreasing or any of that type of pollutant that could get into the creek. And the other one condition they put on it was that the special use permit is good for as long as he has the business open at that location.
Okay. If there's no other discussion on the public hearing, I will close the public hearing right now. And I would entertain a motion on this public special use permit.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Ray Stubblefield, second by Don Allen to approve it. Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Yes, sir.
for clarification, with the conditions put on.
With the conditions stated by the planning and zoning.
Absolutely.
Yes, okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the special use permit, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The special use permit is approved. I hope you make a lot of money. Next is P and Z case 2203, sale of city property at 103 North Main to Optic Communications Missouri Division LLC. We discussed this last week, and we're selling them the land over by the, I guess between the Masonic Lodge and the funeral home that we owned, which is the former site of the CJ building until the high winds came up. Is there any discussion on this?
Planning and zoning met on this one also, and they are recommending approval.
I have a question.
Yes.
It said in there, I was reading, I don't know if it's a condition or whatever, but they would bring the objects to the curb of all of our places. What does that mean exactly? So we will have, is there anything that we'll have to pay for from the curb to the building?
Mayor,
Yes.
we have an ordinance where this discussion really should take place. We do
Yes.
not have a public hearing.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I'm just suggesting that once we put it on first reading, that's.
Okay, so we just made notification of the P and Z case then, and we'll go right on until we get to the ordinance. Okay, very good.
Oh, wait.
Okay, am I bad? Very good. We'll just move right along then to appointing Michael Boo as a new police sergeant. Michael, would you like to come forward?
Good evening.
I hope you're qualified. I would like to appoint Michael Boo as our new police sergeant, and I would like a vote to approve. I approve. A motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Bob McAfee,
Second.
second by Roger Spencer to approve Michael Boo as a new police sergeant. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Congratulations. Elena, please administer the oath.
I, Michael Boo, do solemnly swear that I possess all the qualifications for the position of a police officer as prescribed by law, that I will support the Constitution of the United States of the state of Missouri, provision of all laws of this state, affecting cities of this class, and the ordinances of the city of Carl Junction, and faithfully to be myself in office, so help me God.
Great. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next are ordinances. First, an ordinance approving a contract with Optic Communications to sell property at 103 North Main Street.
We put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on first reading. Would the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving a real estate purchase contract between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and Optic Communications Missouri Division LLC, authorizing the city to sell 103 North Main, Carl Junction, Missouri, as more particularly described in the body of this ordinance, authorizing the city to accept $10 and certain gigabit connection services to the city for said real estate and to convey said property as provided in said contract, and authorizing the mayor, clerk, and other officers of the city to execute and process such documents as may be necessary to convey said real estate.
Now we can have discussion on this.
Yes, sir. It is, in the grand scheme of things, it is to the curb. That allows individual household owners, if they want the service, then they can run it to their house. If they don't run the service, then they haven't put out the expense of doing that, and they can just move on to the next house that wants it. So it is like subscription based, like any other service, and it allows them to save a little bit of money for people that weren't going to put it in.
Well, more specifically, I was talking about to the properties for the city.
Yeah. well,
Yes, we will have some expense because of the equipment that we'll have. That we'll need is not, it's not like what you get in the home.
Right.
And so we will have some expense on it.
And we'll be able to have like.
Yeah.
Cameras
Camera.
online all the time and stuff like that too. It'll be really nice for the parks, to see what's going on.
Ours is going to be a little bit different because the system will support terabyte, and we'll probably use a lot.
Now,
Yes, Ladonna.
the actual service, they're not charging, it's just gonna be the hardware, that kind of stuff that we have to put in, correct?
For the city, yeah.
Yeah.
Any further discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Collins.
I feel obligated to put on the record that this, as I mentioned to this board before, this is an unusual contract. We're selling the property for $10, and it may well be in the city's interest to do so, but the enforcement of our rights of obtaining these services and such from the body that, the entity that we're selling this property to is very unclear. So there's a lot of on faith in this ordinance accepting this contract and selling this property. I just don't want anybody to be surprised if problems develop down the line. That I have never dealt with a contract written like this. There's a lot of good faith going into this, reliance that Steve has upon his dealings with his company. Am I correct, Steve? The chief?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just
Good, thank you. Any further discussion, Mike?
The clause in here where it says if they fail to begin construction of their central office, then the city has the right to buy it back. Is there any legal description on what the central office must entail? If they put a cardboard box out there and call it central office, is that a central office?
In telecommunications, the definition of a central office is a hub, is a building that's a hub that has power that all the cables and the fiber optics and the computer system go into. They are hardened facilities to withstand tornadoes and that type of thing. So it's not going to, they won't put a cardboard box out there, or they won't put a mobile home out there, anything like that. They have millions of dollars worth of equipment on the inside of it.
I just want to make sure that that was something that was kind of not airtight.
No, that allows, if they don't follow through, that allows us to get the property back, and so that we can try something else.
Anything else? Any further discussion?
But we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Lynn to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving a real estate purchase contract between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and Optic Communications Missouri Division LLC, authorizing the city to sell 103 North Main, Carl Junction, Missouri, as more particularly described in the body of this ordinance, authorizing the city to accept $10 and certain gigabit connection services to the city for said real estate, and to convey said property as provided in said contract, and authorizing the mayor, clerk, and other officers of the city to execute and process such documents as may be necessary to convey said real estate.
Any further discussion?
I move we put this ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Lynn. Put this ordinance on final passage. It's a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, please vote electronic. 7 affirmative, with 1 absent. The ordinance is approved, and that is ordinance number
2212.
22-1?
12.
12, thank you. Next is ordinance rezoning 4.41 acres east of Lone Elm and Cherry from R1 to R2.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending the zoning district map adopted by the Board of Alderman of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri by ordinance number 9910 on the 18th day of May 1999 as amended to rezone 4.41 acres east of Lone Elm and Cherry, Carl Junction, Jasper County, Missouri, owned by Four States Builders as more fully described in the body of this ordinance from R1 to R2.
Discussion?
If you remember, planning and zoning met on this probably close to a month ago, and they had recommended approval, and then we had sent it to you guys 2 weeks ago, and this is just the ordinance following up on that trail to get it rezoned.
Any further discussion?
Maybe we put this ordinance on, not final passage, on second reading by title only.
Second.
Where we were at.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Bob McAfee, put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending the zoning district map adopted by the Board of Alderman of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri by ordinance number 9910 on the 18th day of May 1999 as amended to rezone 4.41 acres east of Lone Elm and Cherry, Carl Junction, Jasper County, Missouri, owned by Four States Builders as more fully described in the body of this ordinance from R1 to R2.
Any further discussion?
I just had one thing.
Yes, LaDonna.
I do know this is a good area to develop. I'm not sure about the rezoning because I have some residents that have been concerned. But I would just ask that as we go forward with this, that we keep looking at the traffic situation at Lone Elm and Fir, and also any kind of compliance we have, because that curve between Lone Elm onto Cherry, we do have issues with. So kind of going forward, if we keep those things in mind, I think the residents will be much happier about decisions that we make. So that's all I have.
Any other discussion?
Did we ever get that speed cart put on Lone Elm, the kind of, the problem we talked about it?
No, it's actually been broke down. They're waiting on parts to get it fixed. As soon as Dave gets back from vacation, I think the stuff came in and we have to get it going again. We've got two locations.
That may kind of calm any concerns that.
We've got 2 locations that it needs to be put at.
Yes.
Maybe we put this ordinance on final passage.
Second?
Motion by Don Allen, second by Gary Stubblefield, to put this ordinance on final passage. It's a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Please vote electronically. The motion passes 7-0 with 1 absent. That is ordinance number 2213. Thank you. Next is ordinance approving Memorial Park Splash Pad Project Agreement.
Move to put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Gary Stubblefield, put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving the proposal of AFCO LLC for the Memorial Park Splash Pad installation in accordance with the proposal for the sum of $704,600 and authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute documents necessary to effectuate such proposal.
Discussion.
I also have here, we got them in today. There was, I laid separately in front of you, was a total breakdown of the project as far as costs go. And I have the engineer drawings for the pad. All the spray features, you know, and the little building and everything here too. So if I've got 2 copies of those, so if you guys want to take a look at that, let me know. You can grab one of these.
Yes, Mike.
I don't seem to have that ordinance in my packet. Do you have a copy of it right there or something like? Thank you. I don't think any of us got it.
No, none of us.
Wasn't available Friday.
Oh.
And I apologize, I should have printed off copies for all of you.
So you got your.
If it was.
Somebody wants to give us
What? No.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I may. And the reason it was late getting to Elena is because I kept requesting a contract that we could approve by ordinance. and there was no contract forthcoming. Steve will explain it, but I think it was Friday that I drafted an ordinance approving a quote proposal, which is unusual. Again, another unusual activity. But Steve, for reasons mentioned at the last meeting, I think has good confidence in this particular outfit and the bid that they made and their history and so forth. It lacks, not having a contract, we don't have guarantees, warranties, we don't have the usual things that are required in a contract. But doesn't look like we're going to get it, and it's either this or not go forward. So I'll leave Steve to explain why we don't need it here.
AFCO is a nationwide company. So I put out, after the last meeting, I put out on the city manager's listserv, if anybody had signed a recent contract with AFCO, if they would be willing to share that contract. Everybody that responded back has used their proposal only. Nobody's had a contract with them, and they've gotten their splash pads installed. Besides the splash pads, they do park, playground equipment and that type of thing too. So, I do have confidence in them, and they do. And part of this paperwork that they gave us, it describes the warranties that we get. 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, and 25 year. That's all part of the project packet. And I do agree with Mr. Talley in that this is a little bit unusual, and it was even more unusual when I got statements back that nobody had a formal contract with them. They all had signed proposals. And that was it.
One thing in favor of this is that we're not going to pay them until the job's done. Am I correct?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. They get paid when the job gets done. They don't make like some of our other stuff. We don't make contracts payment to them, as they make, request payment, we withhold 10% there. They don't do that. You pay it at the very end.
Yes, Ron?
Now, since they are on the state, whatever,
State bid.
state bid, have they been vetted also, some through the state? I mean, surely if there's complaints.
Oh, yeah,
It
state
would
bidding
not come off the
process
state
is, state bidding process is a whole lot more than ours is. Yeah, and they are on two different ones with the state, the state of Missouri, so.
So
State of
surely
Missouri.
if they were having a lot of problems, the state would likely have pulled them.
Yes.
It's kind of like, all you have to use Anderson Engineering for our
Yeah.
sidewalks and stuff, because they're approved by the state and cannot use Algar Mark, our local people, right? So they're not approved by the state. Yes, Rick.
So without a contract or any way to enforce things, what's to stop them from starting? Obviously a $700,000 check.
They don't get any money.
How long can they drag it out? There's no way to, is there a time frame on this?
No, because they don't want, it's in their favor to do that. They don't want to drag it out because they want their money.
As an example, when Crystal talked to him, told him when to get a bid, and the guy says, well, we can probably get in there this summer sometime to talk to you about this. She says, well, we want to have it ready to go. She says, oh, you want to build it right now? I'll be in tomorrow.
Oh.
So,
So there's not a daily late fee?
No.
Also, okay.
They, if they try to submit a pay request, it's like, no.
Just for reference, when we buy a police car, if we don't pay anything for that police car until we get the police car, we don't have a contract in that case either. Contracts are to obligate each side to do certain things on schedule, but since we're not paying any money till the job's done, we're not as much at risk as we would be otherwise.
No, we do that a lot. The police car is a great example of that. We do a lot of things where you get paid at the end of it. And when you submit an invoice, that's when you get paid.
Any further discussion?
What's the,
Mark, Bob?
what's the overall dimensions of this thing, you know?
98 by 60 something, if I remember right.
It's pretty big.
Very big.
Be the largest one in the area.
Yep.
One of the largest in the state.
One of the largest in the state. Now, is there any further discussion? Oh, Richard?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can, only because you're a committee chairman.
Where did the idea of I come to most all the city council meetings, and I did not heard one word about a splash pad until about 3 weeks ago when it first came up. And just as a citizen, it seems to me like, where did it come from? And do the people of Carl Junction kind of understand we're spending $750,000 to $700,000 for a splash pad? It just, I don't know. It's just, all of a sudden, we're spending $700,000 and I seem not.
Well, I had the idea, 2 or 3 years ago, I talked about having one at Lakeside Park. Because we had nothing going at Lakeside Park, we didn't have soccer going or anything. Trying to get something going out there, and I just thrown the idea out, and then when the ARP money came in, it can be spent on parks and recreations, we'd rather spend it on streets, but it's illegal to spend it on streets. You can't do stuff like that, it's gotta be for water, safety, recreation, things like that, and so.
This conversation even is a really long-term conversation that's happened for years and years now. It goes back even to when we stopped having our own lifeguards down at the pool, and we went to a contract with Y. There was discussion that long ago about turning that into a splash pad and everything.
It just seems like a common man on the street doesn't know that this is happening. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be building $1 million, rounding it up.
Yeah.
Thing, and it just might be, it seems to me like it would be good to educate the community that this is coming. I don't think they know. That's just a comment.
Okay, that's fine, I appreciate the comment. LaDonna?
I was gonna say, I can say going back to when I chaired the facilities committee, it was on our long-term goals then for the 2 or 3 years. And every year in the budget committee, we kind of touched on, as we accrue money for improvements and everything, we've touched on it then also. So it has been discussed in the open meetings because we've discussed it as part of our ARPA budget. So even in the open budget meetings.
I guess the real problem is, we've got 2 people here in the audience. We generally have no one that isn't a relative or somebody here in the audience. We have 4 people listening to us online. We talk about it. The only time people come in is if they got a problem. When things are going along, we listen to the council meetings, we've talked about it. We had budget meetings, those are open to the public, we talk about it there. No one comes to our budget meetings. So,
KODE had it on the TV too.
yeah, and the TV had it on.
And
It's in the paper too.
I've got a message, I've got text messages, I've got comments on Facebook from someone in my ward slamming us because we're not putting it in their streets. We're not doing this A, B, C, D. Like I say, it's earmarked. We can't, use it for a lot of things. So I think this is a project that will benefit everybody in the community. Yes, if we could say, put it to the streets, put it to this. But since we can't, this is something that 80-some hundred members of the community will have access to. That.
And if you don't spend the money, you lose it eventually.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that it's been talked about for years, but we finally got some funding that would do it?
Yeah.
Well, listen, how long ago was it? Jim and
And that
I
was
were
broke.
coming out of church, and one of the members comes up to us and says, this is before we got the ARP funding, he says, we need a special flashlight in Carl Junction.
We do.
Yeah, he said, you did. He talks about that, the kids want to do it. We said, yeah, okay, we thought about that. We still haven't told him we're doing it.
I think Mike, he brought to me one time that it for a swimming facility, for the team. We even had a gentleman come into the council meeting and talk about wanting a competitive swim facility. Because we do have a very competitive swim team up at Dyson.
There's
Mr.
a lot
Talley?
of things.
Yes, just for reference, I represent the city of Duquesne, and they have gone through a different process. They're creating a little park next to their city hall, and they have gone through Harry S. Truman to get some grant funds for parks. They just agreed to build a splash pad too. Splash pads are very popular things, so we're not the only ones putting up splash pads.
Ours is gonna be better.
Yeah. Yours is gonna be a lot bigger.
Is there any further discussion? Mike?
Well, I made the same point last time we discussed this, but I don't disagree with the idea of splash pad. I like it. I think it's great. I just don't know that we need to have the largest one in the state or one of the largest in the states, and I'd like to see more options. So,
Okay,
that's what.
thank you. Any other discussion?
Is that second reading we're getting ready for?
Nobody has things to say, yeah?
I mean, we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second. Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on second reading, by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving the proposal of ACCO LLC for the Memorial Park Splash Pad installation in accordance with the proposal for the sum of $704,600 and authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute documents necessary to effectuate such proposal.
Is there any further discussion?
If we put this ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Rick Glenn, to put this ordinance on final passage. This is a handbook of electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, with 1 absent, please vote electronically. Vote is 6 in favor, with 1 against and 1 absent. The ordinance passes. That is ordinance number
2214.
Next is the administration report. Any comments, corrections, or gripes for the city administrator?
One thing to add to that, when we had the lady from Jordan from Empire District the other day about streetlights, you guys asked me how many streetlights we have. We have 363 streetlights in 8 different styles that range from 6,000 lumens up to 50,000 lumens. And there are some on this list that we probably ought to change out to the more efficient.
Yeah, they still have to go off and on all the time.
We've still got a bunch of them that are mercury vapor.
Are they in the process of changing some of those out? We did.
They are in other cities, yes.
Do we have to request it?
Yes.
We have to pay for it,
You
right?
have to pay for it.
No way.
Would that be health or safety? Or
Be safe.
be safety?
Be safety, definitely.
If we can.
But the cheap one is just like $10 that light that they shoot in there.
Yeah, but it's to install them, what was it? Like 300, no,
300.
3,000, I don't
$10
remember. I mean,
a month to charge, and then you get,
yeah,
several
initial
$100
cost
of the
would-
initial cost.
Just to replace it,
It's a profit deal, Jim.
they need it.
Is that something that we can look into as far as ARP money or?
Yeah,
Sure.
yes. That's a safety deal. How bad's the pool house?
Not too bad. I've got requests out for a couple of bids for either putting an asphalt on it or a metal roof on it so that we wouldn't have to worry about it again. So when I get those in.
Anything else for the city administrator?
I want to go back to the lights.
Go back.
What's the process of getting on their list to have ours approved?
I notify them that I want to, that the city wants to get rid of all of their mercury vapor lights, and we want LED lights put in. Then they'll work up all the paperwork. It'll take several months. But, yeah, I mean, that's just a consensus deal. If you guys want me to go through with that, I'll get her notified and do it.
Can we,
We'll use that $8,000 we got from that additional 8,000.
There you go.
If we, I was gonna say, if they can give us a cost breakdown and everything on it.
If they give us a cost per light, then you figure how many you can do.
Yeah.
can you negotiate with them on that 300 and something dollars?
No,
It's called a monopoly.
It's liberty.
you don't have a choice.
Everything's negotiated.
You don't have full there.
Yeah,
Can you negotiate your electric bill at your house?
just don't pay it for a while.
That's goes real cheap when they turn it
It's
off.
real cheap, real quick.
Kind of hard to see by candlelight.
Anything else from the city administrator? Very well, moving along, we'll go to department reports, and first thing I'm going to start off with is the PD report. Mark isn't here, we have a fine representative. Any comments or corrections about the police report? Or any questions?
I guess I do have a question.
Yes.
As far as the point 3 and the vandalism, so is that something that is going to, the people in Wakai, do we recruit money for that? They have to fix it? I'm sorry. The vandalism that happened, and it says that you caught the guys that did it, and you spoke to them, got a confession. Is that something that will come from their parents' money?
Yes.
Are we
And
actually
they are going to have to remove it also.
Good.
Not only are they having to pay for the product.
Anything else with PD? Very good, then move on to the public works. Any questions for Jay? Boy, you're getting up easy tonight. Nothing else for Jay? Very good, then we got a building inspector's report. Hopefully they got a copy of that, didn't they? Oh, yeah, here we go. Roger noted that the roofing inspections are way down. They no longer are number one on the list.
See what happens by the end of the month.
Yeah. Any comments about the building inspector's report? If there are none, then I will go into committee reports. Let's see, first on the list is budget. I believe that's LaDonna Allen.
That would be me. First of all, other than Steve getting some numbers for next time, so we can look at the lighting, we need to schedule a meeting for 6 o'clock before our next regular meeting. Steve, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is the 17th, correct? At 6 p.m. and the chamber will be present to go over any proposal that they want to send.
Okay. Anything else? Anything for budget?
No, other than we just approved a big purchase.
Okay, code and nuisance, Rick.
Nothing at this time, sir?
Very good. Human resources, Roger.
Nothing.
Public facilities and planning, Mike.
Yes, sir. I'd like to have a meeting if we could. I don't know exactly how much overlap there is from the current committee to the previous committee, but if I could have the previous committee, especially Bob, and you kind of get us caught up to speed with what you've already been looking into, and we can kind of continue on with your success there. So LaDonna's already got the next meeting at 6 o'clock, so I suppose if we could meet sometime, some other afternoon besides the Tuesday before the next meeting, if you're available. And everybody else, I'm pretty available anytime after 3 o'clock.
Next Tuesday at say 3:30.
It works for me if anybody else is available.
For me, who else is it Jim and Mark?
Not me, but it's Jim and Bob. Bob's former.
Yeah,
Saturday, yeah, Mark.
my Mark.
Mark should be okay by then. He'll be off nights.
See, that'd be,
Yeah.
the 10th,
Or
Yeah, but you may not be home by then.
Well,
The 10th's fine.
the 10th at 3:30.
well, since we're talking about public facilities, go to that website. That is a website for, what do they call them? Like exercise things, like
Exercise
trails
stations.
and stuff like that.
Oh,
The Memorial Park ball field, the BYA wants the lights.
Doing the scoreboard as well.
That's fine. I've talked to Steve just a little bit this evening on this, you know. I thought we maybe could a mini one there with the 10 station deal. They have a 10 station deal on that. It's like about $6,500. That's just for the stuff. Then you got to do the pads and all that for like that. And then maybe think about putting a 20 station one out through Lakeside Park along those trails out there that people could do. So it starts off with stretching exercises on things like that, and then it goes into a little bit more detail. So you look at they've got the deals in there. That's about $10,000, and that's pretty reasonable for the ones I looked at. So I'd like you to look at it if you're in your committee, please, and see if you thought that maybe something like that would be feasible to put in our parks and stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else for public facilities?
That's all I have.
Very good. Senior citizens. Richard?
I don't have anything.
Gary?
No, sir.
You still serving meals?
We are.
Okay, that's all we need to know.
Oh, good.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next, going on, we'll go to, I believe it's unfinished business, right? Let's go to Bob. Gary?
Just one thing, and I don't know if it's confusion or disappointment or whatever, but we just had our community education awards banquet, and we only had 2 reps in the city there, and that was embarrassing.
I didn't know that.
I don't know how many tickets we ordered, but there was only 2 of us there.
Can I
just hope we
respond
can
to
do better.
that?
Certainly.
If we have to go into Newton County for a Carl Junction Community Awards, I'm disappointed by it.
Well, and Joplin Chamber goes to Oklahoma. You can go where the venues are that you can afford. There's more moving parts to that.
There are a lot of moving parts, but that is why we're gonna have that discussion next
Right.
week.
I just want to make sure we didn't.
It was
spend
an
on tickets and
intentional
then
thing that I didn't go.
2 weeks.
Yeah. It was an intentional act on my part not to go.
Okay, but I may have wasted some money.
We did about 10,000.
on tickets.
Anything else?
Nope.
Rick?
Yes, sir.
Roger?
Nothing.
I got something I could have brought it up earlier. Did you ever get a hold of Adler or Asbel about Country Club Park soccer field?
Got a hold of Asbel, and I got a hold of Nelson Enterprises, waiting on both of them to come in with the bid.
Okay. We're gonna level it off, smooth it off, get all the stuff out of there, hopefully, and then
Get some
hopefully we'll be able to get split up at Lakeside, so we can go both places, make it a good field of drains. And we figure after the season, we'll maybe let it grow during the summer when they're not using it, and get it all a nice, good feeling out there. But we got 97 parking spaces in that park. That's all I have. LaDonna.
Nothing.
Mike?
I have nothing, sir.
Jim?
No, sir.
Mr. Talley?
No, sir.
Lena? Crystal?
No, sir.
Steve?
Yes, sir.
PD? Jay? Let's go to new business. Goes it?
No.
Burns?
Yes, sir. Probably could have mentioned this earlier as well. As part of the administration report, and this goes with what I was wanting to say, it says, with the help of the Jasper County Citizen, we've written 3 articles for the paper covering the topics of utility bill and rate, property tax breakdown, children at play signs, speed bumps. It was mentioned to me that from a citizen that it'd be great if there was more awareness of what's going on, and Richard kind of mentioned the same thing a minute ago, of just not exactly knowing what's going on. I think this is great. The articles in the Jasper County Citizen, kudos to that. Is there a way to share those same articles, maybe on the city's Facebook page or something like that? I don't know if those articles are
Not in electronic format.
protected or.
Jasper County Citizen does not have an electronic footprint.
And it is a copyright.
Sure.
But
So it doesn't have to be those articles per se, but along the same lines, if we could, I think, continue to keep everybody informed, that's great. And so I really like the idea of putting those in the Jasper County Citizen and then
If you guys
whatever else
have
we can
a
use.
topic that you want me to cover, absolutely, just let me know.
Our Facebook page or whatever else works. Perfect, thank you. That's all I
Anything
ask.
else? Don?
No, I know the Globe, to address that kind of, and what Rich was talking about, the Globe is planning on doing a piece on the splash pad. I thought, I was supposed to be talking with them, and I thought they were gonna talk with Steve, Friday, but Kim talked like they pushed it out till this week, so hopefully we can get word out.
Was that in the Jasper County Citizen 2 weeks ago?
And I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think so.
I'm not aware.
I think he was.
But the Globe, I know, is gonna, I thought that we had put something in there. Paul didn't think that we had covered it all. But I do know that the Globe's talking about doing it also.
Question, does the library have a subscription to the Jasper County Citizen?
Yeah, we get one in the mail every week.
I was gonna say, I know
So you
that
can come
the
to the
city
library and-
does.
And read the paper there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we have them on the front counter here.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure why Paul doesn't, the editor has an electronic footprint.
They were, because they're
Other than
old
the fact that
school.
he doesn't want to have an electronic footprint.
They're
Yeah,
old
there might be a
school.
reason for that.
They want, yeah, they're old school. They just want to do the.
Anything else, Don?
No, sir.
I have no new business.
Nothing.
Roger?
No, sir.
Gary? Mike? Bob?
No,
Mr. Talley? No? Elena? Crystal? Steve?
No, sir.
Oh, my God.
What?
PD? Public Works? Is there any other business before the council?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Don Allen. We adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much for attending. Next time, get some water.
Yeah.
There was something.
Because I was
Stayed right here in front of me.
What?
The study, the sidewalk thing
Oh,
was done. I've got the preliminary
Yeah.
plans.
They can't start till next year.
Yeah.
Why
We're
can't
trying to
one?
get that bumped up.
Yeah, can't start till next year.
Is that gonna work with our grant stuff?
What? What?
Camera
We sent a letter to the citizens.
Yeah.
on that.
gets the bird goes down the hill, it's got development in 2 spots. And all that ground for sidewalk out.
They need to